I noticed it on a Tuesday morning. Nothing dramatic, nothing supernatural at first. Just a quiet moment in my bathroom, the same cracked tiles, the same humming light above the mirror. I leaned over the sink and looked at my reflection the way people do when they're half awake and trying to remember who they are before coffee. And something was wrong. At first I couldn't place it. My reflection looked normal. My hair was messy. My eyes were tired. My face was exactly the same as always. But the scar above my eyebrow, it was gone. Now, that scar has been there since I was 9 years old. I got it when I fell off my bike and hit the curb. I remember the blood running down my face, my mom panicking, the hospital lights, the stitches. I remember everything about it. You don't forget something like that. Yet in the mirror, my skin was perfectly smooth. I touched my eyebrow. I could feel the ridge of the scar with my finger, the same raised line that had always been there. But when I looked back at the mirror, the reflection showed nothing. No mark, no line, perfect skin. I thought maybe the light was washing it out, so I leaned closer. I tilted my head. I moved left and right. The scar was still missing. A strange feeling crawled up the back of my neck. I grabbed my phone and opened the camera, switching to selfie mode. When the screen lit up, the scar appeared instantly. Clear as day. The phone saw it. The mirror didn't. I laughed at myself at first. Mirrors warp things sometimes. Maybe it was the angle or the cheap glass in my old apartment bathroom. Maybe I was just tired. So I went to the hallway mirror. Same thing. No scar. In the kitchen, there's a small mirror on the cabinet door. I checked that one too. Nothing. 3 mirrors, 3 reflections, and not a single sign of the scar I had carried for more than 20 years. But the phone camera showed it every time. That should have been enough to scare me, but it didn't. Not yet. Instead, curiosity took over. I started checking the rest of my body. And that's when things got worse. There's a long scar across my shoulder from a surgery I had when I was 16. In the mirror, my shoulder looked untouched, smooth like it had never been cut open. But when I ran my fingers over it, I could feel the jagged line exactly where it had always been. I checked my arm next. There's a small burn mark from when I accidentally grabbed a hot pan years ago. Gone in the mirror. Still there in real life. By the time I pulled up my shirt to look at the old scar on my ribs from a car accident, my hands were shaking. In the mirror, my body looked perfect. No scars, no marks, no evidence that anything bad had ever happened to me. But when I touched my skin, every single scar was still there. I told myself there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe it was a lighting issue, maybe some weird psychological thing. Maybe my brain was playing tricks on me. So I left the apartment. There's a gym 2 blocks away, and their locker room has a wall of mirrors. Bright lights, huge reflective panels. The kind that show every flaw. I walked in, stood in front of the mirror, and lifted my shirt. The same thing happened. Smooth skin. No scars. A guy next to me was tying his shoes and noticed me staring. "You good, man?" he asked. I hesitated before answering. "Do you see anything on my shoulder?" He looked up briefly. "No, should I?" "No," I said quickly. "Never mind." I left right after that. On the walk home, I couldn't stop thinking about it. My mind kept circling the same question. Why would mirrors erase my scars? When I got back to my apartment, I did something I hadn't planned on doing. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror and said out loud, "What are you hiding?" The reflection stared back at me. Perfect skin, perfect face. And then something happened that made my stomach drop. My reflection blinked. But I hadn't. I froze. The version of me in the mirror stood perfectly still after that, just staring forward. But I knew what I had seen. The reflection blinked first. Slowly, carefully, I raised my hand. The reflection copied me instantly. I tilted my head. It did the same. Everything matched again. Except now I couldn't shake the feeling that it had made a mistake, and corrected itself. That night I couldn't sleep. Around 2:30 in the morning, I got up and went to the bathroom again. I didn't turn on the light. I just stood in the darkness, facing the mirror. For a moment, I couldn't see my reflection at all. Then a car passed outside and its headlights briefly lit up the room. In that flash of light, I saw something that made my heart slam against my ribs. The reflection had scars. Not the ones I have. More. Dozens of them. Across the face, the neck, the chest. Long cuts, deep wounds, burns that twisted the skin. It looked like someone who had survived 100 different disasters. Then the light vanished. Darkness swallowed the mirror again. I stood there breathing hard, trying to convince myself I imagined it. So I turned on the light. The reflection looked normal. Smooth skin. No scars. But now I understood something that hadn't occurred to me before. The mirrors weren't hiding my scars. They were hiding something else. Over the next few days, I started noticing more strange things. Sometimes when I walked past a mirror quickly, the reflection seemed slower. Like it was catching up. Other times, I'd feel a strange pressure on my skin, like something brushing against the scars, but when I looked down, nothing was there. The mirrors still refused to show them. Every single reflective surface erased them. Except one. My laptop camera. One night, I set the laptop on the bathroom counter so the camera faced the mirror. That way I could see both reflections at the same time. The mirror version of me looked untouched. But on the laptop screen, the scars were visible. And as I watched, something horrifying happened. One of the scars on my arm started to fade. Not in the mirror. On the screen. The mark slowly lightened until it disappeared completely. I looked down at my arm. The scar was gone. Actually gone. The skin was smooth. That's when I realized the truth. The mirrors weren't hiding my scars. They were removing them. Every time I looked into a mirror, one piece of my past disappeared. Every injury, every memory carved into my skin, slowly erased from existence. And the reflection, the other version of me, it was taking them. Because tonight, when I stood in front of the mirror again, I saw it clearly. For just a split second before the reflection corrected itself, the scars on the other side had multiplied. And one of them, the one across its arm, was exactly the same one that had vanished from mine.